20 something years old, early 20s, 22 years old. He was, back then, he was working for Amazon. Okay. He was working for Amazon.com. Now, I don't know if you know anything about Indian people, but Indian people, their one goal in life for most of them is to leave India. They want to go overseas to chase different things, chase a better life, so to speak. So Hemanth was on the right track for it. When he joined Amazon.com, he was, in the span of a couple short years, he managed to get promoted multiple times. And he was one promotion away from moving himself and his entire family to Seattle, Washington in the United States to move there permanently to work for Amazon. Okay. So for
recording
him,
in progress.
So just as that was about to happen, he was exposed to the Kangen business. So at that young age, after working so hard to get promoted so many times, he actually decided to join the Kangen business instead, which is basically throw away his entire career path. He threw away his entire career path. So for him to do that, that was amazingly courageous. And I remember after maybe 1 or 2 years in this business, he said to me, you know what, Mingwei, joining Enagic was the best thing that's ever happened to him because he made multiple times the income he would have made in the Amazon company. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Mr. Hemanth Kumar. This guy here, if you don't know, he's so amazing. He has 5 lines of 6A, 5 active direct lines, like boom, 5 lines of 6A. And he was also one of the people who was instrumental in opening up Enagic Middle East. And he was instrumental in opening up Enagic Africa. So if you guys don't mind, help me give a big warm welcome to Mr. Hemanth Kumar all the way from India.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mingwei. And thank you so much, everybody, for coming here on a Wednesday morning and, here to get so much value. And I want to say something that Mingwei is so kind, to have mentioned right at the start that he learned a lot from me in the last 1 week. Right now, I'm in Malaysia as we speak. And I'm so grateful that I have mentors like Mingwei, Mr. Sam, Simon, to basically help me build this business. But let me start first, actually, with my journey. And it's going to be, this session is going to be very simple and interesting, not too much to do with slides and all that, but it's mostly about my experience. And I'm going to be speaking heart to heart. Is it okay? Yeah, you guys can give me a thumbs up if it is okay. Yeah. Right. And our business is all about sharing stories, right? So I've been sharing this with people, and I thought what better than, doing one-to-one I can share with all of you here. Okay. And I see a lot of my team members here as well. Welcome. All right. So, let me start first, actually, by telling you guys, how many of y'all are actually in a job? I want to know if you're in a job and doing Kangen part-time. Put number 1 in the chat. If you're in a job and you're doing Kangen part-time. Okay? Good. A lot of y'all. Hey, Saidmus, I know you. We have attended ABC together, right? We were the same team. Awesome. So most of you are in a job. Some of you are saying yes, right? Yeah. So nothing wrong with the job, of course. You need to have the income flowing in, right? But that was my background as well. If I have to share my story, some of you all may know my story, but most of you all here, I'm guessing that you don't know my story. So is it okay I share with you a background about myself, my family, before I got into Amazon? Is it okay? Type number 2 if it's okay. Okay, all right. So just to give you guys background. So I'm the only child, my parents actually, and my parents, like every other family in India, right, back in the 90s, right, they were not very conventional. They were very unconventional, actually, and they were neighbors. They loved each other so much that they wanted to get married, regardless of, in spite of the family's not what do you say, not supporting them. So, right. So they started life very, very humble, or even I would say something that is just enough, to look after the house, right? Just give you a perspective. My father, like my parents, when they got married, my father's income at that time in US dollars was approximately around 30 US dollars monthly. And if you go back in time, that's like, I mean, that could be worth around $100 as of today, if you count all the inflation and all that. But can you imagine $100, no family support, and they started life? And I still remember my mom used to work for 2 ringgit or something, or less than $1 a day. She used to work, in a data center. Okay, so and then once I was born, I'm sure my father always told me that, Hemanth, my father, that is like my grandfather, didn't give him anything. So I'm not going to give you anything, but I'm going to give you very good education, and you have to look after yourself. So that is something that they always kept their promise. They sent me to the best of the best schools, best of the best education. And even so that when I did my bachelor's, the university that I did my bachelor's was the most expensive college in Bangalore. I'm from Bangalore, India, right? So that was, and even as we speak, just the yearly fees in that college is almost close to $6,000 yearly. That's a lot of money, right? For bachelor's in business management, right? Back then, when I was studying, it was about $2,000. So they increased almost double. Okay, so that's the college that I graduated. Why I'm telling you this is because I want to show you their journey, where they started from like $30 a month to be able to send me to the best schools, best universities, right? Now, as a son and then the only child, for me, that was the biggest impact, and that was my biggest, what do you say, reason to be successful in life. I wanted to give my parents the best. So ever since I was studying, I was also dancer. I was a dancer. So I used to be dancing with one of the top choreographers in India, or the top choreographer in India. And I used to volunteer there. I used to do a lot of help in the admin, help in the office. And also I used to be earning for classes. So that's how I was able to pay my tuition for the dance classes, and at the same time I was able to have some pocket money. So ever since my college, right, I remember, actually, I want to share something with you guys, right? I'm sure many parents here in the room, right, that a lot of parents give pocket money to the children, right? But as I was growing up, there were like, the only thing that was strange to me is when I heard parents giving their children pocket money, because that was not something that I grew up with. For me, it used to just be like, 1 rupee or 2 rupees just to have a chocolate every day, maximum. That's like the biggest happiness for me. Even until when I was 16 years old and 17 years old. Okay, 1 rupee is like, you guys can just calculate, it's nothing actually, right? So, but I never complained. I feel really good that, I didn't complain because I saw my parents struggling, and I didn't even feel that I must have or I'm entitled to something of that sort. That was not something that in fact, in return, I was saving a lot of money. That 1 rupee or 2 rupees that I used to get, also I used to put it in a piggy bank. And I once saved a lot of money, enough to buy a cycle. So my first cycle, I bought myself, right? That was like around less than 150 ringgit, right? If I have to say in dollars, that was around $40 to $50 approximately. Okay, so my first cycle, when I was age 12, I believe, yeah. So after my education, and that is after I started earning a little bit, I still remember my first check I received from my dance school was about 3,000 rupees. I don't know which currency to use. I'm just going to use rupees. You guys do the conversion. And since we have a lot of Malaysian crowd, 3,000 rupees, one ringgit is about 18 rupees. and it's more or less been the same for many years. So yeah, so that was my first check, first income, right? And since then, I got this feeling that, we live in an economical world. Everything revolves around money, right? You can say whatever you want to say, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to money, right? Are you able to provide for your family, right? And a lot of parents here, that feeling, right? You want to give the best to your family. At this stage right now where I am, basically, my parents are free now after 7 years of Enagic. I'll come to that story there, right? But one thing I really felt right now is what every parent or every responsible individual is going through actually, right? Because until like 4 5 years ago, the only responsibility I had was I wanted to make my parents become free of all burden, all financial matters and all that. And once that happened, right, and then once I started taking charge of the house, the experience changed completely. Okay, now coming to my starting, I would say the takeoff in my life, right? Until my university, I was striving to be the best. I used to participate in all the extracurricular activities. I used to participate in all the competitions, right? So I wanted to get the most of everything, okay? And my parents always supported me. But I really feel that my life started taking off after my university. That is when I got a job in Amazon. Okay, that was my first job. And getting that job was actually, how do I say, it was not an accidental thing. I was kind of manifesting it, but I missed the interview because I didn't know that there was an interview because I missed the day when they were announcing it. So that day, I still remember 8th of May, no, 7th of May 2013. My friend calls me up and he says, Hemanth, I just got into Amazon. This is the best place we should be in after the college. And he's like, see if you can join in as well. I'm like, how do I join in? The college placement is over, right? And then I had a friend from my dance class who was working in Amazon. And I asked him actually if he can refer me. And he said, you know what? There is walk-in interviews happening. Just walk into the office. And I didn't even tell my parents. Just the day when I was going in the morning, I told them I have an interview. Didn't tell them which company because I myself didn't know what Amazon was that time. Okay, because we still didn't have Amazon in India, right? And Amazon was not as big as what they are today. Okay. So I just walked into the interview with a friend of mine. Both of us gave the interview. It was a 1 day process. We got selected. And that for me at that time was still, I wasn't sure that I'm going to get the job. You know why? Because I need to produce my college certificate, my graduation certificate, my pass, that I passed in all my exams. And the following day, that is the 9th of May, was my results. And I was for sure one subject I'm going to fail. So if I fail, I don't get the job. So I was praying. I even called the teacher, like to check with her how I did. And she was kind of diplomatic. And she said, Heman, don't worry. I'm sure you would have done well and all that. And my heart was like in my mouth, until I saw the result. So the next day morning, I just went straight to the college. And even like 2 hours before they could publish the results, because back then everything was like on a cardboard, on a board. It was not online. So I walked into the result. I saw the result. I was only looking. I didn't look at the marks. I was only looking at a black box, because in every subject, if there is a black box, that means you failed that subject, right? So I was only looking for the black box, and everything was white. So that means I passed. So that for me was the biggest, actually, biggest, I would feel the greatest feeling at that time, okay? Because, yesterday I was just sharing one quote with Mingwei, okay? It says this, probably I can even share it on the screen here. Oops. Yep. Let me share the screen here. Okay, this is what it says. A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions. Let me show you guys here. Uh-oh. A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions. So why I say at that point in time, that was my biggest achievement probably that I felt, was because I was getting closer to my dream of giving back to my family, working in a great company. The salary was 20 to 30% higher than what many freshers used to earn. Okay, so that was one of my biggest achievements. And 3 years later, after a few promotions, okay, this is I don't know if you guys can see the screen, but yeah, this is what I saw. And I even took a photo of it. I was watching a video, a TED talk. Actually, the speaker is a Malaysian, actually, in this video. He talks about how the mind thinks, how the mind, what you say, functions. Okay, great. So why am I sharing all this with you? Because two reasons. First thing is, I want you guys to relate to the experience that I have, and I'm sure most of you all have had similar experiences where you felt that this is the way how your goals are going to be achieved, right? But one thing is, a someone who's in a pond, right? And for example, a king of a pond versus a soldier in an ocean have two different perspectives. I don't know if you're getting the meaning of it, right? For me, I thought, wow, I'm the king. But then only I realized, when my mind opened up, I realized that I was actually in a pond all this while. Okay? I don't know how many of you are able to relate to me with this. That your mind is like, how do I say this? If you're in a village, just an example, if you're in village, your whole life, your whole world is just that village until you come to the city. And then you're like, wow. Until you go out of the city, right? You travel to a different country, then your mind opens up. Until you travel to many other countries, experience different cultures. Until you probably go to the space, So just like the universe, how it's expanding, we have to keep our minds also very ever expanding. So that is one of the reasons why I'm sharing this with you, because chances are where we are today could be very small in terms of where you could be in your future, right? Provided you're always open to learning and always willing to change and accept the big things in life. Okay, that is why I often travel. That is why I often meet people who are even more successful than I am, to get their perspective, to get what's running in their mind, because that's like a shortcut in life. You can buy time through their experiences. You learn, and then you can time travel. So basically, that's why I want to share with you. So 3 years in Amazon. Every year for me was different. The first year, in fact, the first 6 months, I worked so hard. I was one of the highest performers in my training batch. And then when I came out to the real work, right, it was so hectic that I couldn't meet the targets. I couldn't perform as well as the other employees. And just 6 months down the road, I was issued a notice that if my performance didn't improve in the next 1 week, I could be on the final leg of my career. And after that also I don't perform, then I'm out of Amazon. Okay, it's called the PIP, Performance Improvement Plan, right? I still remember they said, Hemanth, this is your time to prove yourself. And I still remember December end 2013, right? Although I was in one of the toughest roles, my performance, I just gave it my all. That was the time I realized that I wasn't playing all the 6 months. Although in my mind, I thought I was giving my 100%. But that 1 week made me realize that I wasn't playing my full level. And my head colleagues, who were winning monthly awards, like the best employee of the month kind of awards, you know, in in an office full of like 250 employees or whatever in my department. Okay, my batchmate used to win it, and then January 2014, I won the best employee of the month. Okay, because of just what I did in that 1 week. Okay, so why I'm sharing this with you is because the second reason, that you may think that you're giving your best until you're put into a pressured situation, until you're put into a situation where you come out, either there are only two things: either you fight or you run away, right? Fight or flight. So for me, it was like, hello, if I leave the job, I don't know any other job I'm going to get. So better, might as well give my all in. And I was even exceeding my targets. Previously, I was not even hitting half of my target. Okay. And then my friend told me one thing, that the same friend who called me and told me that, Hemanth, I got into Amazon, the same friend was in my batch also. He told me this because he was the one winning employee of the month award consistently. Okay. And then I took over. Then he told me, Hemanth, now that you've achieved it, it becomes very easy for you to achieve the monthly award. And that really happened. I was winning the employee of the month every month on since then: January, February, March, April. And in the month of May, they announced they announced internal job promotion. Okay, to become a mentor, a team mentor, which is someone like an associate. I was an associate. I was just handling my own work, but now you're responsible for six employees. You have to look after yourself, and also you have to look after six people. Okay, you have to mentor them basically. Those will be new people who have just joined the company. Okay, so can you imagine, 6 months ago I was about to be thrown out of the company, and 5 months later, right, I was recognized as I went through the interview. I got selected. Out of what, about 40 people that gave the interview, only 6 were selected. I was one of them. Okay, and my friend, who was the employee of the month, like just before me, unfortunately he wasn't selected. Okay, but I was selected, and my first batch as a mentor failed very badly. Okay, and I had constant pressure of performing. We used to have meetings every day with the managers, right? And those meetings were not great. And I can't take leaves because I'm now responsible for 6 people. Back then also, I was not taking leaves. Back then, I was expected to even give work overtime. So if you're working in a job, your time is not your time, actually. You think you can just work 8 to 9 hours, but no, you're expected to work more. And if you don't work, you know that you can easily say that, okay, I'm just going to go. I'm not, I don't have to do this overtime, but you know that the managers are watching, and you know that you're working to get your yearly reviews and yearly raise appraisal by the end of the year. And if you're not in the good books of the manager, things will not be in your favor. Everyone knows that who are in this work, who are in a job, right? That's why I tell people that when you're in a job, your time is not your time, right? There's no time for yourself, actually. And although people think, okay, there's a work-life balance, 8 hours you work, you go back, give time to your family. Very rarely it happens, especially when you're growing up. And if you're not growing, you're just in that position. Why even go to the job? At the end of the day, there's no motivation, right? So, but I was someone who wanted to strive for more. So, long story short, my first two batches as my mentor failed very badly. A lot of those employees were underperforming. Okay, then my manager told me something. He told me, Hemanth, is it possible that it can be you and not the employee's fault? I'm like, yeah, it's possible, right? And he told me one thing, that, if I give you a lock and I give you 100 keys, only one lock can open the key. One key can open the lock. The rest 99 cannot open. So chances are, what if you're actually trying the 99 keys to open the lock and it's not happening? You need to find that one key, right? So you need to improvise and be creative. So that was one of my biggest challenge at that time, to improvise. And then the third batch that I got came out in flying colors. I don't know what happened, but they came out in flying colors. And I was the first person to be sent out of India to actually China to mentor a batch of the employees in China for Amazon.com. Okay. And I went to Beijing for 1 month. And that was like a big thing at that time, right? Even a lot of my senior experienced guys didn't get that opportunity. So I went there, came back, became a lead. Now a lead has to look after 16 employees, a team lead. Okay. And I was a lead. Literally, all the managers used to call out, look out for me. Like they wanted me to be their team lead. Okay. And I was even doing overtime, right? So okay, I just want to tell you something that these are some distinctions that I got from Amazon actually. But at the end of the day, I was after that I became a trainer. Now I'm responsible to train the new employees who come into Amazon. And I did almost 17 batches. I trained almost 17 batches in Amazon. And that was when I applied for a relocation to Seattle because I was growing step by step. Why I'm cutting this short is because I just want to let you know that the challenges that I faced, and then and then it was just going up and up and up, and things became easy actually. And then when I got the job, I got the offer in Seattle. I was honestly speaking, October 2015, I was really looking forward to do something, to start a business, because I felt that this job is not for me. Why? Let me tell you something. First thing is, no matter how high you go in the job, you are still expected to do extra. First thing. Second thing is no time freedom. The third reason is because you no time with family. I'm the only child, and I wanted to give back to my family, right? If I go to the US, it'll take a long time for my parents to migrate. In that time, if something goes wrong or some emergency, I cannot just leave and fly immediately. And I didn't even have a lot of money at that time with me. I was just enough to make for the month. So I was really looking for a way out. Now comes the point where now comes the transition. And remember, I told you getting the job in Amazon was at that time the biggest achievement in my life. But at that time, it actually felt that I was actually underperforming. I was performing way below my potential 3 years later. And that's when I was looking for a business to do, and I had no capital to start any business. I had 4 options in mind. And that was when I was actually introduced to Kangen. Now, I'll tell you why I chose Enagic, to the main point, okay? This is the most important, but the most shortest point. The first thing is I had that entrepreneurial drive in me. That became easy for me to decide to do Enagic. Okay, first thing. Second thing is, at that point in time, I had nothing to lose. Or I had only everything to gain. So why I say that is because a lot of y'all and a lot of your team members, they are in a job, but they also have responsibilities, right? So I'm not telling people quit your job right away. What I'm telling you is if you have nothing to lose, right? Honestly speaking, Enagic, the kind of opportunity that it provides, there's no capping. In fact, in Amazon, when I was working, no matter how hard I worked, I could only maximum get a 10% or a 12% at max hike by the end of the year. Okay. And although I got promoted 3 times internally, for someone who came to the same position as I was after 3 times getting promoted internally, the person who walked into the office at the same position was earning twice as much as I was. So internal promotions were not really appreciated a lot in terms of income, in terms of salary. Okay. But when I saw Enagic, I saw that there's only one person that decides how much you're going to earn, that is yourself. Or like in my perspective, it was myself. I'm going to decide if I want to earn $10,000 this month, I decided. I want to earn $200,000 also, I can make it happen. There's no capping. There's no limitation as to how much you can earn. So I remember when I started Enagic, the entire Amazon was like it was quiet. Literally, everybody was shocked. Like, why are you leaving? Right? I told them I found something better. Right? And In less than in my first month, let me tell you, when I started Enagic, it was not all easy. Although I thought it will be easy, but it was not easy. But I know something that let's just make this moment count. Okay, I wanted to achieve what probably at that time Mingwei and Mr. Samsia had achieved in so many years. I wanted to achieve in 1 year itself. That was my goal. I even remember that time, very loosely, I told Mr. Samsia, I want to become a billionaire in Enagic. And at that time, I didn't know how much is $1 billion and all that. Okay, so when I started Enagic, for me, the biggest goal at that time was to pay off my machine that particular month, because I borrowed a lot of money. My mom pledged her jewels, and then we got the machine. But I realized that getting the machine was not the challenge at all. Failing in the business was my biggest challenge, because then I have nothing else to do now. I can't go back to the job, and I wouldn't want to go back to the job, right? So failure was never an option. So what I did was, I was so relentless, I literally called every single person in my contact list. So why I chose Enagic over Amazon? If you look at that line, right, it was more of Enagic choosing me than me choosing Enagic. If you look at it, because by nature I'm someone, I go all in if I decide 100%. Okay, and Enagic was the right platform. And let me tell you something. Just before that, when I was 18 years old till 22, 4 years, right? 22 was when I started in Enagic. 4 years, I had so many people come to me and share with me a lot of network marketing opportunities, and I hated it actually. I didn't want to be a part of it, in fact, right? But Enagic, I never once view it as a network, multi-level marketing opportunity or whatever, right? I see Enagic as a real business with extreme low capital, right? A lot of y'all, when I say that, right, yourself or even your prospect, the first thing you might have thought of when buying the machine is, wow, the product is so much, right? But for me, all that I saw was, wow, the opportunity is so much. So the price of the entry point looked very small for me. Okay. So I want to share with you a perspective that I had personally, which helped me grow fast. So in my first month, some of y'all may know, but I want most of y'all to take a guess how many prospects I exposed the Kangen product and the opportunity to in my first month. Take a guess. My first month. 150. Well, I mean, I couldn't have done one, right? My first demo itself, I gave my first demo. I brought in 4 friends. Out of the 4, 2 of them decided to join. But my first month, I exposed the Kenyan product and the business to over 600 people. And what really helped me at that point is, many people say, Hemanth, how do you approach your prospects when you're new? You have not created a lot of success in this business. People have no reason to follow you because you're not successful. I honestly, at that time, even I didn't have any much success to talk about. Right now, I can share with a lot of what I've done in the last 7.5 years, and it looks attractive to people, but I still stick to what I did in my first year or my first month. How many of you would like to know how I approach my prospects the first month, and even till now, how I approach my prospects? Okay, let me tell you something. Why a prospect will become a customer and a distributor mainly depends on the reason why you have joined this business. More than what the business or the product is, mainly depends on why you have joined this business. So, let's say, for example, you've bought the machine or you started this business. If your whole reason is to be successful in this business and to do this business seriously, then that is your pitch to your prospects. Because your prospect, I always call people for the same reason why I joined this opportunity. I call people for the same reason why I started this business. Because there's congruency there, you see. But let's say you join in for the business and you tell people, wow, this is a great product. You get benefit from the product and all that. They're going to clearly see that, hey, you're just trying to make some money. But if you really tell them the reason why you've joined in and enroll them into the same plan as yours at was what you have, they will see the genuinity and they will want to support you. Even if they're not willing to buy from you, even if they're not willing to buy at that moment, they will support you. I wanted that support because I was 22 years old. I didn't know anybody that could, buy this product. I didn't know so-called networkers, nothing, right? But all I was doing was I was just talking to people the same reason why I am into this business. And you know what used to happen? People didn't buy the products, but they were introducing me to a lot of people. They were opening up their doors to all their contacts. That's how I was able to reach 600 people in my first month. Probably 2 to 300 were my own people, but the rest are all indirects. And take a guess that first month, how many sales I made that first month. Take a guess out of 600 exposures. 50. Wow, thank you so much. That would have been great. 10. 150. Wow, that's awesome. 10. 10 is the right answer. Right? So I sold 10 machines. There are two parts to it. First part is I made the money back of the machine, so I could pay off all my debt. And second part was that's almost 5 times of what I was earning in Amazon. Okay, monthly. So my first month salary I earned in 1 month of Enagic, my first month itself. That gave me that, the proof or the evidence that this business is purely dependent on effort. And there's no capping to your income. Imagine if my first month itself, I was able to make 5 times of my salary. But I worked really hard. I started morning 7 a.m. till 12 o'clock. It's okay. Many of y'all, right, who are not in a job, who started any other business apart from Kangen, right? Your first month, probably you'll be sleeping in the office itself because you want to make it happen. And what's your investment? Your investment will not just be $4,000. Your investment could be $10,000, $40,000 even, right? So my question to most of the people who join new is, if you're willing to give in that kind of effort and that kind of commitment to a business that you start by putting $10,000 or $40,000, why are you not giving the same commitment to this opportunity where you just have to invest $4,000 and the product is for your family? Right. And even if you look at $4,000, I worked like as though I invested $400,000. That's how I was working. I used to fill up the demos with 20 people, 30 people every day. Okay. So I want to share with you guys that my journey from Amazon to Enagic has taken a big shift in terms of my efforts. But at the same time, the results were also equally rewarding. Why? I'll tell you. Now comes the point where most people don't follow through, which is I had 600 exposures. I got 10 sales. I made the money back. I was able to pay the debt. It gave me the validation. That's the word I was looking for. It gave me the validation that this business is working, is good, right? And it gave me the belief that if I'm just pushing through, I will be able to succeed. Whereas my other friends who had joined in, they were not having that kind of breakthrough because they were not putting that kind of efforts that I was putting, right? And at the end of the day, I learned one thing, that you can only bring the horse to the water. Probably you can even put the water in the horse's mouth, but it's for the horse to swallow it or not, right? Just like sometimes my dog, I have a dog at home, right? That fellow doesn't eat, right? I try to, or I give him some medicine. He doesn't take it out, open his mouth and inject the medicine into his mouth. Right? And sometimes it even spills off. Why I'm trying to say this to you is because sometimes I came to the hard fact realization that sometimes people don't want themselves to succeed as much as you want them to succeed. They don't want themselves to succeed, right? As much as you believe in them. They don't believe in themselves, right? I don't know if I said that right. Let me rephrase it. They don't believe in themselves as much as you believe in them. Okay, so that took me some time to actually understand and realize, because I was a little bit heartbroken that why are my friends not being able to make it happen, right? And I that first 2 months, second and third month, went down actually a little bit, right? But I was so busy with that remaining 590 people. I was following up with them. I was doing new meetings and presentations. I literally didn't have a lot of time to think about those who couldn't move or said no to me because I had no time. In a way, that was actually a blessing for me because, sometimes our emotion stops us. For me, luckily, that was not the case. And I didn't have a lot of time to think about the people who said no to me. I was just moving forward. And a lot of people who were like not able to achieve the kind of success that I was able to achieve in a short time, I didn't have the time. Although I was doing a lot of sessions and meetings, they all used to be a part of it. But yeah, they didn't have the breakthrough as fast as I did. Okay. Now, in terms of first thing, it gave me the validation of income. Second thing, it gave me the validation of the possibility that this business is possible. And the third and the most important thing, I was able to gain the experience of getting used to rejections faster than probably any other distributor, right? So that built like a rock solid wall in my body that I can go through rejections, like just walking through the air, like it doesn't even affect me, right? Um, so that was, these are some reasons actually why I tell you that I was able to go through regardless of the tough situations that I had. And long story short, when I was in Enagic, or sorry, when I was in Amazon, right? You see, I've only had two working experience. One is Amazon, one is Enagic. So sometimes it gets mixed up. Okay. I learned a lot. I learned a lot and a lot and a lot, but the vehicle was not the right vehicle. Okay. Sometimes, you want to go to the moon in a ship, you cannot reach. It's not that it will take a long time. You cannot reach. End of story. You can't go to the moon in a ship. It's a wrong vehicle, right? The captain could be well equipped. The captain has gone through a training of flying the rockets, right? But he's in a ship, cannot, right? So I really thank Amazon for training me so much. They built up my mind, and it was not, it was not made for Amazon. I was not made for Amazon. I was made for Enagic, right? And I truly believe that after 7.5 years of being in Enagic, right, looked so like I've been introduced to so many business opportunities and everything, right? Enagic, the pros are so high. Why? I'll tell you. I have made a list of those. Okay, this is going to be very easy. The first thing is, if you have the spark of being your own boss, if you want to be your own boss and you want to be able to make decisions, independent decisions, honestly, my appliance being overseas was a biggest blessing for me because, sometimes if your appliance is in the same state or in the same city, right, you start doubting yourself and you start seeking the help of your appliance, right? Because you feel that you're not capable enough to make decisions. But my uplines are from Malaysia and I was in India. So I was the only one taking decisions. So I was making decisions and I really feel grateful for making that independent decisions because I'm fully responsible for that. So the sooner you start deciding for your own business and your own team, you will be successful. But many people leave their job, come into Enagic and still have the same job mentality. They're still looking for orders from uplines. They're still looking for validation from uplines, like how they would do in a regular job, right? So that's one thing that I actually, I never thought of all these things back then. Literally, my Enagic experience unfolded naturally to me. Then when I'm looking back at all these business points or management points, for training, my Enagic journey has been a training by itself, naturally, So first thing is, you must take your decisions as soon as you can. Stop relying on the upline. Honestly speaking, you take decisions on your own, right? You'll be more faster than waiting for your upline. With all due respects for all the leaders here, right? I'm sure you would agree with me, right? that the sooner your team members start deciding for themselves and move, they'll be more faster, right? It empowers yourself, right? Even this morning, right, I'm supposed to have a team meeting with my third layer of leaders, and with Mingwei, right? And he was asking me, when do you want to have the meeting? I said, Mingwei, you know what? Don't worry, I will do it by myself, right? And if I need you, I'll call you, right? So that means that your uplines are always there to help you, but you must make the tough call. It felt for me something, but it felt good to tell no to my uplines that, okay, I will handle this right now. That's one thing. And of course, I spoke about the unlimited earning potential. Do you know something? Ask all your leaders to go through the 6A2-3 and above plan. Honestly speaking, I was just mind blown when I started with just the 6A plan alone. Okay, until the 6A. But ask all your leaders to show you the 6A2-3 monthly bonuses. So something called as category 2. Right? The -3 and above leaders know the importance of that. Right? The unlimited earning potential, that is the real Enagic business actually. If you go through the 6A2-3 plan, right? And all of you achieving 6A2-3 is good for your own leaders. Your leaders will be happy that you all become 6A2-3 and above. Right? Who here you want to be 6A2-3 or even 6A2-6? Put in the rank 6A2-6. I'm going to put that 6A2-6. Right? Honestly speaking, when I saw that for the first time, I only thought it is about the $5,000, the $10,000 what Enagic pays. But when I saw the category 2, that actually pays you based on the number of -3 and above leaders in your team. Oh my God. Oh my God. No other business, no other company in the world does that, guys. That is why Enagic. First, second thing. Third thing, I spoke about work-life balance in Amazon. I spoke about flexibility. In Amazon, literally, as I was growing up, I was expected to do more. I was working 16 to 17 hours, but my salary was only this much. In Enagic, I only did that the first 3 to 6 months. I worked like 16 hours every day. Maybe 6 months is a push, but at least 3 months I did that fully. After that, I was just supporting the team. I was traveling. I chose, and to be really honest with you guys, during COVID, right, I was also having one of my houses getting ready at that time, right? And a lot of people were panicking during COVID because activity slowed down a lot in the initial phase of COVID. But I'm still grateful for Enagic that my income kept flowing. And that helped me finish the house actually and get the interiors and all the payments, pay the house off and all that. Okay, so I want to tell you guys something, that why I'm telling you that is because in a job, many people are losing a job. You will not have that work-life balance. When I say work-life balance, you work when you want to work and you have fun when you want to have fun. Literally this last 1 week, I'm in Malaysia. Every day I'm learning something. I'm also putting in some work, but literally right now my work is only about 10 to 20% of my time in a day I'm working. The rest of the time I'm only planning. I'm exploring life. I'm learning new things about life, because I'm 30 years old now. It's almost 8 years since I started this business. I'm 30 years old now, and I'm learning a lot about life, which I really feel is the biggest blessing that Enagic has allowed me to do, because, looking after a family at this age, right? All the house expenses, everything, providing for the family, right? That's one biggest learning that I'm having. I've started to learn, how do I say, planning for the future, budgeting, all those things, before it was just like money come, money go, right? Now you have to look for the future also, right? So that is what I really call work-life balance. Many people are working in a job. For them, work-life balance is work from morning 9 to 5, come back home, watch TV and sleep. And Saturday, Sunday, go out and be in the crowd. Usually Saturday, Sunday is the most crowded time in the mall or anywhere. And they come back home and tired and sleep, like a monotonous cycle. But not really. I decided last minute to come to Malaysia, decided to come immediately. Now decide to fly. Now we can go anywhere. Or I want to be at home, I can be at home, play with my dog. Or I want to go all out massive action, I can do that also. So that is what I really call the flexibility and work-life balance. Okay, compared to a traditional job. That's why I chose Enagic, and I'm thankful that Enagic has allowed me to make it a reality. Okay, and one of the biggest reasons why I feel I did the right decision of choosing Enagic is because of the personal development, the personal growth that I have had in the last 7 years. Right, probably one of our team members who had come from India this time, he was telling us that, there's constant, no, actually, no. It was actually one of the team members here in Malaysia. He told us that when I'm around you guys, there's so many concepts keep flowing from your mind, is like a never ending. It's like never ending. The concepts are keep flowing from your mind, right? How are you guys able to generate so much content? And then I realized one thing, that wow, this business really gives us a lot of experience that traditional jobs don't. I mean, yeah, it opens up your horizon, it opens up your mind to a bigger world. Okay. Yeah. So basically, when I talk about personal growth, it's more about um, you know being able to take feedback. I was someone before, I used to take feedback but never apply. I used to retaliate a lot. I used to set my own rules. But right now, I'm taking feedback not from people, of course, from people, but also from life. I'm learning a lot from life. So personally, I'm growing. Second thing is, I'm able to pass it down to all the people that walk across me, my life actually. A lot I've shared as we are talking, right? I'm sure that what I've shared in the last 45 minutes or so has really helped you guys get a deeper understanding of what I have been able to achieve through Enagic. It's not just money, it is more of everything actually. More than the physical health, financial health, the mental health, spiritual health, being able to understand relationships, dealing with people, like a 360-degree plan. This is like a school. You subscribe into the school is like 360-degree. Everything you get. Okay. And the biggest thing is, I've come to the realization of a lot of health tips and healthy living, which probably, I mean, I wouldn't have been exposed to, or even if I'm exposed to, right, my lifestyle in the job wouldn't have allowed me to lead a healthy lifestyle. Okay. And the biggest part about Enagic also is the networking and relationships that I've been able to achieve. I was just talking to someone yesterday, and I was telling them that, you're really not interested in the people that you meet. Don't get me wrong. You're not interested in the people that you meet. You're actually interested in the people that they can introduce you to. For example, like I told you initially, all the people that I spoke to, only out of 600, only 10 people decided to join with me. But the remaining people opened up their doors to their prospects. So if I have to draw and show you, the first layer of my team, my group, is mostly end users. It's the second and the third and the fourth layer of the people who actually opened up the business for me. So what does that mean? That you're not just meeting people for the sake of meeting them and closing a sale. No. Honestly speaking, if many of y'all, how many of y'all here, you find it really difficult to close a sale? Put 5 in the chat if you find it really difficult to close a sale. I mean, it's not what you say. It's not something to be embarrassed of. You can be open about it. A lot of people, even I had struggle initially closing a sale. Okay, so yeah, 5, right? Yeah, some of y'all are saying 5 here. Let me tell you one thing, distinction that really changed the way how I operate in this business. Who would like to know that? Say I. You want to know a distinction that I started operating in, which changed the trajectory of my business altogether. Yeah, great. Let me tell you something. If you find it difficult to make a sale, what about the journey in Enagic where this person who you made the sale, you have to speak to him about the business, get him to be interested to become a distributor, then training him, then walking with him when he's facing challenges, then making him a leader, and then opening up new markets. What about all those steps in this journey? All these steps is what is going to bring you to the top level. And if you find that the first step itself is tough, then obviously everything else. That's why, I want to tell you, change your mindset. What I started thinking of is, for me, the sale, signing up as a distributor, making the distributor a leader, opening up new markets has all been a byproduct of my final goal. My final goal, I changed my vision. My vision is I want to have one, actually, some of it, a part of it, I want to thank Mr. Samsia, because he gave me this mindset that, Hemanth, you look for 10 more Hemanths. This was like in 2 months of when I started this business. He told me, your job is to look for 10 Hemanths. Now, I changed my mindset. I was like, I'm looking for 10 Samsias. Right? I changed the way. Then what happened? I started attracting all this. And all the steps in between, right? Closing a sale, making them a distributor, training them, everything becomes so easy. It became flowing. For example, let me tell you one thing, that if you think that the prospect is not going to buy, you're right. If you think the prospect is going to buy, you're also right. Okay. But you always have a choice. You either have a choice to be right or you have a choice to be happy, right? You can give 101 reasons why a prospect wouldn't buy. But you can also give 101 reasons why a prospect would buy. You would be happy. The prospect would be happy. They would build thousands of sales in their team. Both ways, you're right. But choose the one that makes you happy. So I always choose the one that makes me happy. Given a choice, literally, when you look back at your life, you don't have to blame anybody. It is basically a result of the choices that you've made, knowingly or unknowingly. Right? When you look back at that. So I'm really grateful. Often, sometimes some people tell me, Hemanth, could you have imagined what your life could be if you were in Amazon? I can't even imagine. You know why? Because that's not even in my reality. I mean, that's not even in my thought. My thought is to have at least, I'm still working, but my thought is to have at least 10 Samsias in my team. And I'm still work in progress. That's what I want to tell you guys. So that's why closing a sale becomes easy. So when I'm going to the sale, I already visualize that I'm signing up a Samsia. Do you think Samsia cares about the price of the product? A Samsia, so-called prospect Samsia. No. Do you think prospect Samsia thinks about it is tough to do this business? No. A mindset, I'm talking about the mindset of the prospect. Right? The biggest barrier is ourselves. The biggest mountain, we build it ourselves, right? Not the other person. Okay. So when you're networking and you're creating the relationship, make sure you're networking for your benefit also, right? It benefits you and the other person also. It should be a win-win, of course. Otherwise, there's no point in a business transaction. But make sure it benefits your efforts. You're going there, putting the effort to make the best out of it, right? Why not think of the best? It's just the shift in the thinking. That's it, right? So it's just a shift in the thinking. Once you think it is possible, like for example, I told you, going back to my first part of today's talk, I told Mr. Samsi, I want to be a billionaire. I didn't even know what it means. I didn't even know how many zeros are there. I just told him I want to be a billionaire, because that truly is my vision, right? And sometimes people limit themselves thinking, oh, I can't be a billionaire. I was just talking to yesterday someone, right? I'm like, wow, you can be like Elon Musk. They said, no, I cannot be like Elon Musk. Oh, it's too much. But I want $50 billion, not $300 billion. I said, if you can think of 50, you can even think of $300 billion. Right? It's just a shift in the mindset. And why I say that is because when you change that mindset, you attract the people that you're looking for. Right? So when we say networking and relationship, probably the chances why you don't have the people that you want is because you were not looking for them, or you were looking for them subconsciously. Consciously, you're telling yourself you want Mr. Samsias in your team, but subconsciously, your mind is not accepting. There's a conflict between your conscious and subconscious. We learned it recently, but I've always been telling people that we are all beings of habit. 95% our the way how we behave is our upbringing, right? And 5% is our conscious mind. And you have to train your conscious mind. You have to consciously think. This is what happened to me when I started Kangen business also. There's a lot of new things for me to learn. And every time I used to give a presentation, Mingwei used to watch and tell me, okay, this is something that you need to add. And the next time, consciously, I would think of it and add it into my presentation. I would correct it. I would change it. Consciously, I was doing it until it became second nature for me. So why I'm telling you this is because subconsciously we are all trained, or we are all nurtured and cultured from our upbringing. So what is possible for you, what is impossible for you can be possible for someone. The only difference is the upbringing, right? So I'm not telling you have to blame your parents or whatever, but this life is in your hands. It's your responsibility. So if you have the choice to decide for yourself and consciously think that yes, I want to be a billionaire, example, okay? Now when you think of that, and when you are thinking as a billionaire, consciously, even subconsciously, right? Let me tell you something. You're constantly telling your subconscious mind you're a billionaire, you're a billionaire, you're a billionaire, right? At one point in time, the subconscious mind starts to accept it. Because you know why? The previous culturing, the previous nurturing gets erased, and the new conscious things that you're telling gets replaced by the I mean, it takes over the previous spot, the culture, the nurturing that you had. So that is something that I want to thank my father, actually, who constantly used to give me this perspective and idea of thinking it's possible, thinking big things are possible. So I know that one thing, that if I have to do it subconsciously, you have to first control the conscious mind. Once you control your conscious mind long enough, okay, let me put it to you this way. Okay, so let's say, example, you're a child. The child is the conscious mind and the father is the subconscious mind. Okay, just an example. Okay, the father is the one telling the child what to do all the time, correct? Because it has the higher power, right? But the child wants to do something, and the child is doing things on its own. Okay, that's the conscious mind. Now, the job of a father is to feel authoritative or more superior than the child. So the only option left for the father to be superior is to adapt what the child is doing, right? So to put in other words, the only way the subconscious mind can be powerful all the time is if you're consciously doing what you want to do, right? And not listening to the subconscious. The only way for you to do something subconsciously is for the subconscious to adapt what you're consciously doing. I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah, I mean, if you understand that way, right? Subconscious is always the one more powerful, because 95% of your activity is controlled by subconscious mind. So it is always the powerhouse in your system. So if it has to be the most authoritative one, it has no other job to adapt to what the conscious mind thinks. So that's why I want to tell you something, that why I'm saying this is because consciously you may be thinking of attracting someone like Samsia, but subconsciously your mind is not prepared for that. So you have to consciously be looking for it. Don't settle for anything less than your goals, or like Mr. Samsia example. Why I'm giving his example is because for all of us, he's been a role model of doing things that is unreasonable, and doing things that is great. So that's why I want to give you his example, because we all can relate to him in our business. Okay, so that's one thing why I'd say networking and relationship. When you're networking, you're attracting the person who you're most interested in. So subconsciously, if you believe that it is not possible, then you attract someone who is just mediocre, not the exceptional ones. Okay. So look back in your team and see who have you attracted. And chances are that you're probably mostly attracted the ones that you're subconsciously who you are inside. And that applies to me also, right? But I'm consciously still telling myself, I want Mr. Samsia, I want Mr. Samsia, right? And I'm working towards it. And you know what? Say it long enough, one day it will happen. It'll be reality. Okay. And now the last point, I think I'm almost time now. So the last point that I want to say is running the Enagic business gives you a sense of ownership. I was just telling to Mingwei just this morning that, as a man, right? You're only loved upon a condition that you provide something, bring something to the table, right? No offense to women or anyone, right? Of course, they are also equal entrepreneurs, right? In fact, in our industry, there are more women entrepreneurs than men, right? But I want to tell you something. As a man, I feel that this opportunity gives you that sense of ownership to be able to provide for your family, to be able to do all the things that you always dreamt of, so that you can watch your family sleep at peace at night. Peacefully at night. So as a man, it gives you a great sense of relief. How do I say that? You guys can help me out with the words. Great sense of peacefulness inside, right? When you see that you work hard and come back and you see your family sleeping peacefully, right? That, I'm sure, in a job you may not get that because it's still insecure. You can be fired anytime from the job, and there'll be I know one of my neighbors, right? He literally had no job for almost 2 years, almost 2.5 years. And I know the kind of struggle that they had to go through in their house. And as a man, I know it really beats you down completely, right? And with Enagic, I always tell people, you want to go make $10,000? You just go out there, work relentlessly, you come back home with $10,000, right? Comfort, assurance, yes, satisfaction. You have the satisfaction of fulfillment, that you're on the right track. So at the end of the day, your life is all about your choices, the choices that you make. So I want to summarize and say everything that with Enagic, it's more than just you, okay? Enagic is more than just you. It's more about giving. It's more about, being able to make your aspirations come true, okay? But it all starts with one decision. The decision is, are you going to give it your best shot? And let me tell you something, in our Enagic business, right? It is possible that, because there's no pressure, you become complacent. But the only way you can be exceptional is if you are putting that pressure onto you continuously. Pressure creates diamonds, okay? So I want to tell you guys that that if you have to decide on doing the Enagic business successfully, take a decision right away and look at the big picture. Go to your respective leaders and ask them to show you the 6A2-3 and above, the business plan. Learn how to be the number one, right? Not just 6A. 6A to me is just the starting step. Okay. So with that, I've spoken a lot of things why I chose Enagic over anything else, right? Not just Amazon, anything else, right? And use Enagic. Use Enagic, the income that you want from Enagic, invest it, fuel it. Use it to fuel your dreams, right? I'm not saying, what do you say? Bring the money and spend it. Smartly invest it also. One of the biggest mistakes that I didn't invest enough, right? So that is something that I started doing. So yeah. So, but one good thing I want to tell you guys is, just enjoy this journey and give it your best. Don't compromise and don't settle for less. you'll only settle for less if you think that, you know, you deserve it. But no, each one of us, we deserve the best. So that's why I'm telling you, your hands, your life is in your hands. And every result of yours, what you've created, is because of a choice you made. So let's start making better choices, choices that makes us happy. Okay. Yeah. So yes, that's about it. And
Thank you so much, Hemanth.
yeah.
Guys, did you guys enjoy this amazing session from Hemanth? If you did, can you please say TYHK in the group chat? All right. You can type in short TYHK. Thank you so much, Hemanth. Guys, I love this sharing. You know, sometimes, like I said earlier, we get off track ourselves. And when we come back every week to listen to all these amazing people, no matter how short they're sharing, no matter how simple they're sharing, it can really, really impact us, you know? So imagine this, guys. We are all coming in from all across the world. You don't understand how hard it is to, let's say, for the Malaysians or for the people in the Middle East. You guys don't understand how hard it is to actually do business in India, because they're selling this machine, right? And their machine is quite expensive. It's 30% extra because of their incredibly high tax. The income there is much lower. There is no financing. I repeat, there is no financing. There is no Ukon. There is no MGAT. Over there, most of them sell SD501. So for them to be able to succeed in such a market is truly amazing. So guys, if you're in Dubai or if you're in Malaysia, think about it. You have financing. You got so many other products to sell. Can you sell just as much as Hemanth? And chances are probably yes or more. So it's so amazing. And thank you so much for sharing. You guys already heard his income. He was working for a global company, Amazon. You already heard his income. So that's what people make back there. But still, he's able to sell a lot of products. That is truly, truly amazing. And it brings me such inspiration and such motivation and such clarity that definitely anywhere in the world, this business, you can do it for sure. If you can do it in India, confirm 100% we can do it in Malaysia times 10 easily. So one more time, thank you so much to Hemanth. And I want to thank all of you guys here in the room. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys next week.